He passed earlier this year. Jekalyn, I think I see ya. I see. Hey,
Good morning.
long time no see.
I
Here,
know.
everything. How are you?
I'm fantastic. What about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Mother's Day weekend. I know you were celebrating Mother's Day weekend with your family. How was that?
It was good. I cooked a little bit.
Wait, stop.
Yeah.
You cook. Listen, the last time, I've been knowing you since you were like 14 years old. You're now at 23.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's
so
correct.
when we first met you, you were not cooking. But now you
Not
prepared,
at all.
you prepared the Mother's Day meal. What did you cook?
I made some baked turkey wings, some greens, rice, yes, and cornbread.
Uh-oh. Turkey wings, some rice, and cornbread. Your mom taught you that, or your dad?
My grandmother.
Oh, so I know
Yes.
it's good.
Yes, it's Southern cooking.
Yeah. So what did y'all do? I know since everybody's been quarantined, you're in Atlanta, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah. So what did you
So,
do?
okay, so I mean, we just tried to make the best of it. We were here. That's the purpose for us, like cooking and things like that, and just enjoying each other and each other's company. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
I know it's a lot been going on in the city, especially in the state, from the unfortunate tragedy that has taken place. And then with the governor in y'all state trying to rush everybody out in Atlanta, how have you just been able to maintain, your sanity and your peace with so much going on around?
well, I see it, but I don't see it. In other words, I'm aware of what is going on, but I don't get so caught up in that to where it make me lose focus on my household and
Yeah.
what's going on here. And so again, I've been in the house, just taking it easy and staying safe at the same time.
Yeah. I'm excited to have Jekalyn Carr with me, a minister, artist, author. Congratulations on the book that you have. It's a lot been going on in your life since the last time we talked in the studio. I remember me and Marcus Wiley was messing with you about who you were dating at
Yeah.
14, 15 years old. Now you've had so many number one hits. You've been nominated for Grammy Awards. You got Stellar Awards. You've been even known as a Power 100 by Ebony. You've accomplished so much in just this short period of time. When you look back over just the 8-year period, how does that make you feel?
Sometimes I'm speechless because I always knew that God would use me to do great things, but I never knew that it would be to this capacity. And for me to have been so young and God is just still doing great things, it's an honor. And it just brings me joy to be able to know that people are being blessed by not just my ministry and the music that I give, the words that I preach, but just my life in general. And I just want people to know that and to see what can happen when you just take the limits off of
Yeah.
God and when you put your destiny in the hands of God.
Yeah, you came out of the gate. Greater is coming, something big. You're bigger. We talk about You Will Win. The brand new single you have now is God is definitely going to change your story or changing your story. When you come out, especially at 13 years old, 14, 15, talking about greater and something bigger, it seems like that was a lesson that was taught from the household for you to really set your goals at a greater
Yes.
level because you serve a greater God.
Absolutely, that is correct. See, the thing is, most of my songs, probably all of them, are a piece of my life story. And
Yeah,
when you talk about greater is coming, my family and I, we went through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing. And sometimes we didn't understand why, but God was like, I have to take you through something to get you to your greater. And then I look back and I'm like, what if we didn't keep our faith up? What if we, gave up in that place? And now we get to see the hand of the Lord at work. And so it really, really pays off when you really trust God and know that he has everything under control. And
right.
so being able to minister that and to know these are not just messages that I'm singing, this is literally my testimony at the same time.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about starting in ministry, especially at a young age, as I pen this information up here. I started in ministry. I remember I was 16 years old. I really started going to church when I was like 13. So being in the middle of an African American school at the time that was so urban and so hood, it was at the time it was challenging to be a boy growing up, in the hood and starting out in ministry. And I oftentimes in the early stages, I found it difficult to have that balance. And you started in ministry when you were 13, so you had 3 years on me. So how was that for you, especially being, in school and with your peers and trying to live for the Lord at the same time, trying to be cool?
Yeah, so I started speaking at the age of 13. I started singing at the age of 5 years old. And so it was just in me. I couldn't escape it. I just always knew that this is what I was supposed to do. And beyond that, my parents always taught us to have a relationship with God for ourselves. And so loving Jesus and knowing who he was for myself was just, a whole different experience. And so I was homeschooled. So I didn't quite deal with things like peer pressure as far as schooling wise and all of that. But I've always been bold about
Okay.
who I am and the God that I love and I serve. And two, because I started so young, it's like everybody knew I was a Christian. Everybody knew I was a gospel singer. So it wasn't like I was trying to, I could hide it or anything.
Right.
So.
Yeah. You came out the gate. Now, who were some of the people who influenced you in the gospel music industry? Because you're a young person, but you carry an old soul.
So first, it was definitely my mom and my family. I come from a singing family, come from a line of preachers, all that good stuff. So they were definitely great influences for me. As far as in the industry, I love the legends. I love people like Pastor Shirley Caesar, Evangelist Dorothy Norwood, the caravans in general. I love the Winans. Lord, I love the Winans. Miss Yolanda Adams, Pastor Donna McCall. I mean, I love the legends. So yeah.
So what was a Saturday morning like? In my household on Saturday morning, we watched Soul Train. Did y'all wake up singing Shirley Caesar's greatest hits?
We did, and it was actually a mixture. I have to say that it was a mixture of you have the Shirley Caesars, you had the Mary Marys, then you had the Donna March, you had the Kirk Frank. So it was a mixture.
Yeah. What were some of the songs that y'all have the household where you would go around singing songs in the house? And if so, what were some of like your favorite hymns to sing, especially growing up? Oh, I think we froze a little bit. Get this in.
This book I teach
about 8 years or so. So I definitely want to get this in. All right, I see you again. Let's try it. Let's try it one more time. Third time the charm.
Okay, is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so listen, let me say, I probably should have did a little disclaimer. So I just moved to like the country or whatever. And so my little Wi-Fi and little signal and stuff, it goes out here and there. But so I had to come outside.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, we're working. Hey, like I said, I hadn't talked to you in years, so we're going to make this work.
Just listen, we got to make it happen.
We're going to make it work. But I was asking you about some of the songs that you all sing on Saturday mornings. What's some of your favorite hymns or songs that you like to sing?
So for me, like on Saturday mornings, we would probably be playing like a lot of choir music. And so I know for one in particular, we'd be like, it's only a test you're going through, like stuff like that. And my all-time favorite hymn is probably The Blood.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Something about the blood that just, it does it for me.
It keeps us going. I want to talk a little bit too about the book. Tell us about You Will Win and the purpose and the vision that God gave you behind the book. Because I know it comes off of the song You Will Win, but just take us into the mindset that you wanted to encourage the people with the book?
Absolutely. So within the book, You Will Win, you would get strategies on how you can win. Of course, you have the song where we're declaring it's our winning season. Everything attached to us wins. And a lot of us are declaring it, but we don't know how to live the life of a winner.
Yeah.
And so in this book, I teach you different things, either as it relates to your health, your businesses, your goals, relationships, any and everything or area that you desire to win in. This book has the strategies that you need. And so I also not only give you strategies, but I also give you examples within my lifetime of how these tools have really blessed my life and blessed me on my journey. And so I couldn't keep it to myself, because my whole thing is I want to help the next person win in every
Right.
way that I possibly can. And I think that's what it's all about, because I believe that, and someone asked me this one time, a question related to this, and I tell them, I don't limit myself to the industry. I'm not called to the industry. I'm called to nations. And
Right.
so I believe that the messages that God gives me is to help pull his people from out of bondage. And so one of the ways, that I am able to do that is through the book You Will Win. And so yes,
Yeah.
it's been out and people don't know, it was actually, the book was in the making before the song,
Oh, wow.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to sum it all up within the song.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
One of the quotes that I love from you that you said is, if you're living in defeat, you're living under a false identity. Talk,
Yes,
talk
absolutely.
about that. Yeah.
Because we have to understand that as children of God, we got to know that God doesn't just want us to settle for having the title of us being a child of God or joint heirs with Christ, but he wants us to have the lifestyle of that.
Yeah.
And so therefore, if you're operating in sickness, living, in bondage, or whatever your issue is, that is the opposite of who God has created you to be, it's a false identity. And
Right.
so all you have to do is just begin to accept who you are, even if it looks like the opposite, or everything around you is saying the opposite of what God is saying. You still have to declare the word of the Lord to show the enemy, no, I know who I am, and
Yeah.
I know whose I am. Therefore, whatever God has for me, that's exactly what I'm going to walk into.
Yeah. I heard Pastor Bill Winston say yesterday that faith supersedes time. It brings a demand, and it's more powerful than time, that it can bring a demand that'll supersede time and force it to come into the reality.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
he talked about when Jesus was at the wedding in Canaan, and his mother asked him to perform a miracle, and Jesus said, "My time is not yet now." And all she said was, "By faith, whatever he tells you to do, just do it." And immediately Jesus says, "Go get the buckets, fill them up." And so
Mm-hmm.
it helps us to understand that because we understand our point of victory and who we are, we understand that there's a certain demand that we can put out in the atmosphere through faith. And things don't have to change 20 years from now. They can change today.
Absolutely. And one thing I've come to realize is that when you activate and cultivate your faith, God will grace you to accelerate.
Yes.
Whereas where it may take someone else 15 years to get what they want,
Right. Right.
God said, I just give me 15 minutes.
Yes.
Just give me 15 seconds,
Yes.
And so I think that that's what we have to understand as people of God. When we fully accept who we are and walk in and accept that faith that God wants us to have, God can cause us to experience ways and sides of him that we've never experienced before. And listen, I'm a preacher. So
Yeah.
I just want to declare it
Yes.
over somebody
Yes.
who's watching right now, that as you activate your faith, you know what you see, you know what is going on around you. But as you activate your faith, God is gracing you to accelerate, and
Yeah.
things that were according to man, it would take you years to get. God says, listen, I'm cutting the
Right.
time in half. I'm
Yes.
cutting the time for you, because there's some things that I want to get to you, not tomorrow,
Right.
but
But
today.
today, yeah, today, because and I love the phrase, "and it came to pass," means that it happened in history, and God says, "I can do the history today," because
My God.
we live so long under the law that we don't think about the grace that we're under. And so
Mm-hmm.
grace gives us an understanding that God enters into our situation to alleviate us from our pain. That God can enter the situation right now because he lives inside of us. So as you said, as we move into this season, it's an accelerated rate, but God is waiting on us to exercise our faith so he can accelerate what he has waiting for
Come
him.
on. You
Yeah,
listen. Are you a preacher?
yeah, I've been preaching for a long time.
Come on.
Yeah, yeah. And here's what I like, especially in the midst of this crisis, this global crisis we're in. You give us a new single, a new project that tells us to be confident because God is changing your story. And I love that song.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I realized a few years ago that as God would give me songs to release to his people, these are not just songs, but these are prophecies.
Yes.
And so through the song Changing Your Story, the prophecy is God knows exactly where you were. He knows exactly what you were in. He knows what you're going through, but you got to understand that what was once your issue will no longer be an issue for you anymore.
Yeah.
Why? Because God has ushered you into a realm where he's not going to change your story, but he's already changing your story.
Right.
And so through this song, I want the people of God walking around declaring in your atmosphere, God is changing my story. I feel pain in my body, but
Yeah.
he's changing my story. My children aren't on the right path, but he's changing my story. My marriage is on the verge of being lost, but he's changing my story.
Yeah.
Whatever your issue is, you got to know that it will no longer be a struggle for you anymore because God is changing your story.
Talk about our responsibility as God is changing our story. Our responsibility, especially in the crisis when the change is happening in our life, because we can be in a storm, but God has created us to outlast storms, and God is changing our story, but there's a responsibility on our part as well.
Absolutely. I told someone this yesterday. What you're up against and what you're going through does not change who you are. It
Right.
is your responsibility as you're going through because we have to go through things
Yeah.
because that's how we get to the next level. But as you're going through what you're going through, it is your responsibility to make sure that you continue to put the word in your atmosphere. You continue to love. You
Right.
can't expect the hand of the Lord at work for you if you don't love or you don't treat your neighbor right. It is your responsibility to make sure that you're cultivating your atmosphere with worship. And of course, we know what is going on around us. We hear the news, we hear all these different things, but don't get so caught up in that to where you forget about what God wants to do in your household. So
Right.
yes, you have the responsibility to make sure that your atmosphere is charged even as you are going through what you're going through.
I love how you said God is changing your identity from failure to success, from bound to freedom. And a lot of
Mhm.
people feel bound. A lot of people feel in this moment that they're operating under a season of failure. But tell us, how do we maintain the right mindset when failure and it feels like we're trapped where we are in our circumstances and situations?
Yes, it can definitely be a task. It can definitely be difficult, especially, when you experience life's issues. It's hard, to continue to think positively, but you got to understand that if it's not in your mind, you won't see it become your reality. It
Yeah.
starts with your thinking first. And so therefore, there are certain things that you can do to help you think positively, even when you're at that point where you say, I can't speak no more. I have nothing left to give. Put on you some aspirational messages. Go on YouTube, pull on somebody who you know that can give you what you need within that moment. Because listen, you cannot afford to miss what God has for you. It makes God smile to know that you are living in what he desires for you to live in and walk in the abundance. And so whatever it takes for you to make sure that your mind is constantly in a positive form,
Mhm.
do just that. Again, write down what if you can't say it, write
Yeah.
it down so you can see it. Again, go on YouTube, do what you have to do to make sure that you remain in that positivity bubble, as I like to call it.
Yeah, I like that. Positively bubble. Jekalyn Carr is my special guest, Faith and Fame with AV, the Magic 102.1. We're talking about, I love that it's a live project. I know you did it in Atlanta at Praise in the Park, which is a wonderful event out in the ATL. But I just love how you have grown over the years, like I said, from writing the book, from always producing great music. I saw you on television doing Greenleaf, and I was like, wait a minute, that's Jekalyn Carr.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? That role on Greenleaf?
Well, they saw me performing somewhere,
Okay.
and I didn't know they were in the audience, but they were there, and I guess they was like, we wanted you on the show, and so I think a few weeks after that, we was going in and taping the
Yeah.
show. But it was just a beautiful experience. Like I had been, doing a little acting, but I didn't notice how many people actually watched Greenleaf
Yes.
until after I did the show.
Yeah.
And literally almost everywhere I went, people were like, I saw you on Greenleaf.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was a beautiful experience though.
Yeah. So you said you had been acting before. So is
Yes,
that like
yes.
an aspiration? I'm assuming for you.
Absolutely. I've always wanted to be into television, actually
Okay.
different parts as it relates to television. And so this acting being one. And so, but I I'm a firm believer that everything happens in the timing of God. And so, it's everything is just been, even now, there's been opportunities that have been presented to me, and greater is coming.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And I think we're in the movie Never Seen, I think it was.
I never heard. Yes.
Never heard, yeah.
Yeah.
And so from tele, what was the difference, especially acting in the movie and then of course from television? Because I know that's two different sets or two different kind of mindsets. What was that like?
I think so. Acting, you actually have to put yourself in the shoes of this character. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to like they say, get into character.
Yeah, yeah,
And so it wasn't hard because I feel like if something is in you, it's in you. It just
okay,
flows freely. And so it was fun. And you also get, because I just believe movies are not just movies. Even when you see like shows on Lifetime, just all these different places, some of this stuff comes from real life stories. And so to be able to see the character or act as the character of this person that's actually going through this or have went through this,
yeah,
I think it's pretty interesting.
yeah.
So yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's a great look. I've seen people posting several questions. Somebody asked, what's your target age? And I feel like your age group, you have a vast,
Yeah.
wide range that you reach
Mm.
because you're able to, as you said, because of the early influences in your household, to reach the Shirley Caesar audience. But you're also at the same time you can reach, and watch this, you can reach the Megan Thee Stallion audience at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm grateful for that. There's literally been places where I would go, and I can say in particular, I believe I was in Alabama, and there was this 90-year-old woman, and she was like, you don't understand how much you blessed me. And because of your messages, I have now accepted my purpose. I have now, accepted who I am in God. And then you get the little ones who just constantly just tell me how much it has blessed them. Like I've literally gone places where I named my daughter after you,
Okay.
Jekalyn, meet Jekalyn,
Yeah.
So, but it's
Yeah.
just I really, I'm humbled, to be
Yeah.
able to reach a mass of age ranges and just people in general.
Yeah, just a couple of more questions, then I'll let you get out of here. I appreciate you definitely taking the
You're
time to
welcome.
be with me today. But talk about, especially to parents who are watching right now, what advice would you give, especially when it comes to raising children in the kingdom or raising children to live out their purpose?
One thing that I love to tell people is that my parents supported my purpose. And I think it's very important that you support in multiple ways. Many ways I've seen my dad, number one being investing into me. Like
Yes.
literally, I would take him, I would watch him take his last paycheck and he would invest it into something I was working on, whether it been a little album or something, I was a little photo shoot, something,
Yeah.
but what he was doing was really pushing me and helping me to understand that he believes in me. And I think your children, they know, they can tell when you really believe in them. And it's very important because if you don't believe in them, they will look for it somewhere else. And so by them being the jewels that God has given you, it is very important that you take the time and you begin to push your child. And not only that, not only give them the biblical values, but also give them life values. You know, my parents, one thing they taught me is that, you know, anybody can sing, but what can take you a long way is also your godly character, your
Right.
integrity. You know, it goes beyond your gift, it goes beyond your anointing. You know, you have to make sure that you are treating people right. You got to make sure that, you know, you maintain your integrity so that you can continue to grow in life. And so I just really, really encourage parents also to just make sure that you're cultivating their gifts, protect their anointings. It is your duty. You know, I mean, certain things they just can't do.
Yeah.
Certain people they just can't hang out with, you know, especially at a young age, because the enemy wants them young because he knows of the impact of their gift and their anointings. But it is your responsibility to make sure that the devil does not win. And even if they don't understand during that time, you know, when you say they can't do certain things, eventually they'll understand. And I can tell you now, I understand, and I'm glad that I obeyed and I listened to my parents. And even now my parents will still give me godly counsel and godly wisdom. I feel like it doesn't matter how old you are, you never get beyond godly counsel and wisdom, despite who it comes from. And so those are some of the things that has really helped me in my journey, and I hope that it helps some parent and their child out there.
Of course, you know, I see the questions popping in. And it's the AV and always comedian Marcus Wiley question, and that is, we always ask, you know, are you dating, or, you know, are you still single? And if you're dating, I know your dad, he's a tough fella, he watches over you, so are you dating is the question.
I am dating. I am.
Hold up.
I am dating. You know, I think that my parents, they have really, really taught me great values, you know, growing up. And so being able to hold on to those and just making sure that I maintain the queen that's in me, you know, and those values have really, really stuck with me. And now I'm able to bring them over into my adult years. And so, my parents is like, listen, I mean, we trust what we put in you, so you know.
And you're 23 now, so
tell
them to have you home by midnight. Make sure they bring you home by midnight.
Not midnight.
So listen, this is just AV being messy now. So are you dating like is it a choir member or a little junior deacon or something? Is it?
No.
Is he an usher at the church?
Listen. No, but I used to always say, you know, he doesn't have to be, because people, you know, because I preach and all of that, people thought that, I have to be with the pastor and things like that. If that's God's will, then let God's will be done. But he doesn't have to be a pastor. He could be a businessman, you know. He could be, just as long as we do that credit check, that bank account check. We do that health check, that mental check. You know, we do all the good checks, the background check, and all of that. So, you know, we good. Do all the checks.
You got to do the check. Got to do the check.
Now, he ain't going to be perfect, but we going to do the check.
Yes, we got to do the check. But listen, little sis, I appreciate you once again. I know you have the brand new project. I love the single, Changing Your Story. But tell us how we get our hands on the book, and how we can get our hands on music, and of course how those who may be their first time, especially from the R&B side, hearing about you and your ministry, how they can keep up with you.
Absolutely. So the book should be available on Amazon.com as well as Barnes & Noble, and it's entitled You Will Win. Changing Your Story, the single, is at radio, but it's going to be available very soon, literally very soon, you guys, because many of you have been asking. And all of my other music, you know, you can pick it up on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Jekalyn Carr, Spotify, Pandora, all that good stuff. And those of you who want to keep up with Jekalyn Carr, you can follow me on my social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, under my name at Jekalyn K-A-R, and look for the blue check mark.
Look for that blue check mark. Little sis, thank you so much. And you have always been consistent. You've always been a blessing. And your passion and your fire for the kingdom work speaks for itself. But I'm just honored that you would take the time out to come on and share with me today. And just thank you. And I pray God continues to open many, many more doors for you. You continue to impact and change the world.
You are absolutely welcome, and it was I had fun talking with you today. Again, we hadn't seen each other in a minute, but listen, it was great, and thank you for having me.
I'm honored. Yeah, I know I didn't have all this great the last time you saw me. It's I don't know what happened. I just woke up one morning and it
was there.
It just popped out great. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if it was the enemy or what. I said I don't know, but yeah. But I'm honored. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. We'll do it again soon. Okay.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Be blessed.
You too. Bye bye.